Hey everyone, my name is Catalyst, welcome back to the channel, I hope you all are doing well. So as you all know, Season 5 finally dropped earlier this morning and I've been playing for a few hours to try and feel out how the season is shaping up, and as you can tell by the title of the video, I think that Season 5 at face value appears to be quite a good season, definitely up there with Season 3 in terms of my personal satisfaction with the game, and I think that Season 5 does a lot right, but they also have made a few changes that may have some serious repercussions to the game as more people get their hands on the new season and figure out the new maps and weapons. So we'll quickly get into all of that in today's video. We'll go through some of the big additions and changes and my thoughts on them, and then I'll let you all go and try it for yourself if you haven't done so already. If you like the video, leave a like and tell me what you think of Season 5 so far in the comments if you've already tried it. Let's get into it. So normally I like to start off these videos with positives, but unfortunately today I'm gonna have to start off with a negative because I think it's important, and it's the first thing that I have in my little list of notes here, and it says least amount of content in any season, frowny face. This is the least amount of content that we've gotten in any Battlefield 2042 season so far. Obviously there's not going to be any more specialists in the game, as Blasco was the last planned specialist and DICE have said that they don't plan on adding any more, and there also aren't going to be any more vault weapons added to the game for the majority of Season 5. Now DICE may end up changing their mind, but they came out and said that there's going to be no released vault weapons throughout Season 5. So as an entire package, Season 5 is the least amount of content that we've gotten with a season so far in Battlefield 2042. And that stinks. You know, obviously one thing that this game really doesn't have right now that it desperately needs is content. And I've talked about it in videos before on the channel. I felt like they really needed to pack a punch with the content in this season, and to have this be the lightest load of content that we've gotten with the season so far is pretty disappointing. But the content that we have gotten in the season so far, I think is the best content that we've gotten in any of the seasons so far, and specifically I'm talking about the map Reclaimed. Oh, if only the rest of the maps in Battlefield 2042 were designed this way. Reclaimed is the best map in the game, and it's not even close. I mean, I think Reclaimed is a great example of how important your map design is in terms of making a good video game, because in my opinion, and this may be partial to my biases as a Battlefield player in terms of, you know, when I started playing the game, what I expected my Battlefield maps, Reclaimed pretty much has everything that I would want in my Battlefield map. Surprise, surprise, it's the smallest map in the game. You mean to tell me, Catalyst, that a smaller map is better for the game? Yes, viewer, I am telling you that. Oh my gosh, what a surprise. DICE, if you're listening to me right now, all sarcasm aside, please design the rest of the maps that you are going to be releasing with 2042. If you are releasing more maps, which you should, but if you're going to be releasing more maps, please go into it with the design philosophy that you have with Reclaimed, because Reclaimed is the first map that I have played in Battlefield 2042's life cycle where I have actually felt, yes, this is a Battlefield map. This is the map that I thought Flashpoint was going to be when Flashpoint released in Season 4, and what I mean by that is I thought that Flashpoint was going to be a really good Battlefield map, and Flashpoint for me was really not that great. I had a lot of issues with Flashpoint, but when I first saw Reclaimed, I'm like, this looks like a Battlefield map, and it has not disappointed me, and I am so very happy because I truly do feel, and I've said this before on the channel, that the map is the #1 thing that you need to get right with every season, especially considering that there is only one per season. You saw that with Season 4 Flashpoint was not really all that well received. With Season 5, I think Reclaimed is going to be very well received, and I think Season 5 is going to be looked on very favorably, even though, as I said at the very beginning of the video, this is the season with the least amount of content that we've gotten so far. The attachments on vault weapons, this was something that I was extremely excited by heading into the season, and I'm also very satisfied with this. Now, it's only on assault rifles that they've done this, but they have added attachments to a variety of vault weapons that were already in the game. So you'll see me using the M416 with the Fusion Hollow sight. Previously, you weren't able to do that, and they have also buffed some of the vault weapons up to snuff with some of the stronger vault weapons like the M16A3. I really enjoyed having these new attachments at my disposal. It really made these guns feel fresh to me. Now, I've used quite a few of them extensively, but for some of you who maybe unlocked these weapons, saw how poop who they were and then put them down into a trunk and never took them out of the trunk again, and you haven't used any of these before, I think this will offer some additional content for you to try. And overall, I'm a really big fan of these changes, and I can't wait for them to be applied to the other vault weapons that are in the game, because this will ultimately lead to a healthier meta. You know, if you have more guns that are viable or at the very least usable in the game, that just makes for a healthier game, and that is something that is always going to earn a thumbs up from me. Now, on to something that I think is going to be very, very divisive within the community over the next few weeks, and that is the spread and dispersion changes that DICE have made to assault rifles in the game. So if you are out of the loop, DICE have decided to increase spread on the assault rifles. They're doing a rolling change. They're starting with assault rifles and then applying it with feedback to submachine guns, light machine guns, DMRs, yada yada yada. And they've started with assault rifles, which on the one hand, I hate rolling changes. Like, I would rather you go into every individual weapon and then tweak it accordingly instead of doing blanket changes. And I think it's even worse if you're doing rolling blanking changes, because you have a situation like this where the assault rifles aren't quite right. And now it's very clear that SMGs and LMGs are going to be the meta for the next 3 weeks until they fix it. So I really hate rolling changes like this, but more to the point, they have added anywhere between 15% to 20% spread to assault rifles at about halfway through your magazine. So you're going to notice spread almost immediately when you're firing your weapon out to anywhere past 30 meters, and that spread is going to reach its maximum dispersion around halfway through your magazine. And you'll notice this at times through my gameplay today, and I have some thoughts about this, because while I think the direction of these changes is absolutely the best way to go, I think the execution of it is leaving a lot to be desired. And I think if anything, DICE have swung the pendulum to the other side. They're getting closer to the happy medium where this game needs to be in terms of its gunplay, but they have swung the pendulum to the other side, and now it's a little bit too much, and it's left assault rifles in a pretty poor spot, in my opinion. Which assault rifles were definitely a problem area, don't get me wrong. It's just that the changes haven't really been all that effective for one key reason, and that's that burst firing and tap firing don't really appear to be effective in this game. In fact, they don't really appear to work at all, and if they do work, it's definitely not consistent, and it's because your spread isn't resetting when you're attempting to burst fire. And I think that this definitely has something to do with the recoil bug that's been in the game since launch that hasn't 100% been fixed yet. They did kind of sort of fix it a couple of months ago, but it really hasn't been 100% fixed. So you notice if you're trying to shoot somebody at longer ranges and you'll try to reset your spread, it just doesn't do it, and you end up outlining them and you don't get the kill, and it's super frustrating. So there's definitely some performance slash optimization changes that they need to make here to make tap firing and burst firing more effective, because I think if burst firing was working as it was supposed to, that this change would be fine. But as it is right now, if the spread and the tap firing and burst firing is just not going to work, you need to reduce the percentage of spread that you get per shot. You'll definitely notice that right away if you're using assault rifles. I think people are going to figure this out quite quickly and start using LMGs and submachine guns. I mean, LMGs are basically assault rifles with 200 round magazines anyway. So the meta and the gunplay is going to be a little bit wonky for a while. So hopefully they take this feedback on board. Hopefully they figure out a way to fix this, because right now assault rifles are in a really bad spot. And since it's the most popular gun category in the game, a lot of people are going to notice. Again, I think it's a step in the right direction in terms of what's needed. I certainly prefer this over everybody beaming everybody from 100 meters away. It's just not quite right. Okay, speeding through the rest of the list, I got a couple of small notes here. The LATV changes. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The LATV recon rats are no more. They took away the 30mm and 50mm off the LATV recon. Somebody tried to use the minigun to do the exact same thing earlier this morning, and I just laughed at them as they completely missed every shot, and I ended up shooting them out. So thank God that camping with the transport vehicles at the edge of the map is no more. However, adding the 20mm flak pods to those things was a very poor decision, and I feel horrible for all the vehicle players, specifically the helicopter players out there, that not only have to deal with stationary AA and the Wildcat, but now also have to deal with 20mm flak pods on the LATV Recon, which again are supposed to be transport vehicles, and they can quite literally be anywhere on the map. For balance sake, this is horrible, and I wonder when DICE will just realize that they need the minigun or a 50 caliber coaxial machine gun on the transport vehicle, and that's it. I wonder when they're going to realize it, because they keep doing everything. They dance around it all the time, but they need to just stop putting these weapons on the transport vehicles. Haven't played Dozer yet, dreading to play Dozer, but I think he's going to be better. I'll be testing him for the updated specialist power rankings that will come out later this week, so be on the lookout for that. Irish, however, I've noticed that the changes don't really hurt Irish as badly as I thought it was going to, but I will say that his nerf to the APS system, they called it a change, but it's really more of a nerf. It does hurt him when you need him the most. So in the grand scheme of things, especially in slower paced game modes like Conquest, the change is whatever. But when you find yourself in a hectic breakthrough sector or caught in the middle of a Zerg rush from another flag and you need that explosive spam protection, he just isn't as good, and that stinks. The squad management in the game is good, it's whatever. I wish people could be kicked from squads. That's really why you want squad management in the first place, but it's fine, it's good, it works. Hooray, that should have been in the game from the very start. There are a lot of nice UI changes, being able to see your squad members in the main menu when searching. Now you don't have to go and check and see if your party is broken or not. They'll literally just show up in the main menu with you. There are new icons next to gadgets telling you whether the gadget is explosive or not in the selection screen, which I thought was cool. There are some nice quality of life HUD effects like damage numbers. You can customize that now to varying degrees, which I enjoy. The one thing that I didn't like with the HUD now is that it tells you when you avenge players or save players sometimes in your little kill feed, and it's in this distracting bright green, and it startled me the first time that I saw it. I don't know if you can turn that off yet. I haven't checked, but I felt that this was unnecessary. I hope that you can turn it off. So that's everything that I have on my list. I'm sure I missed something. I'm rushing to get this video out today. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all are enjoying your time. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. It helps me out a lot. Tell me what you think of Season 5 in the comment section below. If you enjoy the video just that much, consider subscribing. I post content frequently and stream frequently as well. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, all that other jazz that you hear from your favorite YouTubers. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Catalyst, and I will see you all another time.